Welcome to Never Too Serious with Scott and Dave. I'm Scott.
And I'm Dave.
Dave, so I'm telling you about my day today.
Yeah, what's going on?
I got my first crown.
What?
From the dentist.
Oh, I thought, man, you royal now?
Yeah. Well, I put it on my calendar and my wife sees Scott gets a crown. And she gave me a hard time. You are no king. Not in this house.
It's like, listen, princess, you're not the only one that gets to wear one.
Yeah, that's right. It's not a tiara.
Well, how'd that go for you?
Oh, man. I felt like I was the lion and the dentist was the lion tamer, cranking my jaw open to fit his head inside. Yeah. And the
just the tip?
Felt like more than just a tip.
Oh, no.
But it felt like he really shot me up with Novocaine or whatever it is that they use. Yep. And like half of my head, seriously, half my head all the way around to my ear was numb today. Oh. And now and this is like, I don't know how many hours ago now, and I'm just now getting the tingles, and I took a little bit of Tylenol. So hopefully I'm not too sore. But
we should have done this about 3 hours ago. That'd have been great.
I'd be talking like this.
Yeah.
No, and the thing is, I didn't eat anything this morning. When I go to the dentist, of course I want to go with a clean mouth and not have them picking my breakfast out.
Really?
And yeah, really.
I like to get a little brisket in there, give them something to do.
Yeah, right. So they have to give you a cleaning before they work on you.
That's right.
And so I go in there and I'm already got the stomach growls, during.
Hate that.
Yeah. And then, of course, after, this was a 3-hour procedure. Normally, from what they said is that you would go in, you'd get, your tooth shaved down, and then they'd put a temporary crown on, and then you come back in a couple of weeks. That crown arrives, then you get it put back, get the real one put on, and so on. Well, they have this technology that I thought was incredibly cool, where you could take pictures with this little 3D camera, and it stitches all the images together and gives you a 3D image of your teeth at that moment. And then they have this device where they basically carve out your tooth in whatever material they use, and it's done, ready. I'm out the door in I was a little bit less than 3 hours. The whole thing, which would normally be a couple of weeks.
Oh.
It was really cool, and I got to watch as they're going through this process. And anyway, it was cool, but I am a little bit sore today.
Yeah. So the X-ray, I'm just wondering to see if it's the same one. I know. Is that the one that you had to sit there and the thing goes around you?
No, this is like she opened up my my jaw, and then she sprayed a little something on my tooth or on my teeth just to kind of make it more visible with the little camera. But then she just moves this little camera around. It's almost like a toothbrush, but it doesn't make any noise. And it takes pictures, like video or whatever, and it stitches it all together into this really amazing. I mean, it's like she can rotate it around, and
I had the 3D one done myself, but it's on a stationary one that goes around.
Yeah, when I had my wisdom teeth pulled, they did that same thing.
I went and had to go out there. It was just last week. I had to go in, and they had to redo a root canal of mine. That was nice that they did in 2018.
Oh no!
I mean, which isn't a big deal. Honestly, I fell asleep.
There was enough tooth left to.
I don't mind going to the dentist. It doesn't really hurt me much.
Yeah.
But they said, listen, we got to check you out, and we've taken some X-rays. We can't see the situation. We have this 3D X-ray that will give us the clearest view that we can. I'm like, well, let's do it. It's $250, and your insurance doesn't cover it. So I'm sitting there pondering. I'm like, well, he needs to do the job. What if I say no? And he's sitting there going, oh, crap, we really do need this.
Yeah.
And he pays for it just because it helps his own job out. So I'm going to do that next time and say, you know what? No, I like to see what you could do without it. And if you need it, feel free to buy it. But I don't need it.
Yeah.
Next time they ask, I'm going to say, I don't need it. You do? And here's the other thing. Kaiser, when I went to Kaiser, that was the only X-rays they did at that point. They kind of stopped doing the other ones. They did all of those. It wasn't an extra. Yeah. So
I wonder if they had to use that when they gave Tony his vasectomy.
He had a clamp. You have to bite down on something. What did he bite down on?
Well, you have to figure out
it in his ass
what tubes you got to cut, right? They need 3D pictures of that. Yeah. Just kidding, Tony. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was an eventful day. It was.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you're feeling all right. I'm glad that you didn't have to waste too much time. I have to go back and go get now.
No,
some more stuff
your
done.
mouth work done. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I tell you what, dental hygiene, like take care of your teeth, especially when you're young, because I didn't. And, it's been almost 20 years now that I've been like religious about, keeping my dental health good. And even now, like today, the reason I had to get a crown is because filling that I had like 20 years ago put in was starting to then crack my tooth.
Ooh.
And so they had to do this in order to make sure that it didn't get worse.
They were afraid that mine was cracked, had an abscess, and in 2018 they did the root canal, and then they had to go back in and redo it and check it all out. So it looks like it worked out, but they were concerned. They go, if there's a crack down there, you might have to pull your tooth. I'm like, pull my... I'm going to hurt somebody. I try, like you said, preventative, and I went to my regular dentist, my endodontist, if I said that right. And and for the last 8 months, I've been having an issue with my upper tooth. I've been going in, and they haven't really been helping me out with it. And I said, so the last time I went, I go, listen, it breaking is not a plan for me. We're going to do something about it.
Yeah.
Just sitting there waiting for it to freaking break.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, man. I remember I was at your house when I had, this was like way early. I was like into college, I think. And I had one of those taffy things in my mouth and broke my tooth. I was hanging out at your place at the time. That was a horrible experience. I never want to relive that. So yeah, dental health, super important.
Do it.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Quite a tangent. I know people, when they listen to these podcasts, they go, why don't you just get to the freaking story?
That is the story. That's a real story.
Yeah, that's the story. So
take care of your teeth. We're here to teach us shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the real topic of the day.
Yes.
You came up with this idea. We both are fans of The Simpsons.
Yep. I watched the very first episode. I'm not kidding you. It was on, I think it was a 13-inch black and white TV. Mm-hmm. Yes, we had colored TVs at that point in time, but my parents were using the regular TV. They go, if you want to watch that, you got to do it. So I actually had to see it in black and white.
I remember watching it from the Tracy Ullman show.
Oh, yeah.
When it was one of the side skits in her show.
And I never even, because I've seen that show a little bit, but I never remembered or seen that there, but I knew of it after.
Some of the voices have changed. Homer's voice. Mm-hmm. Homer's changed just a little bit.
Yeah, he has. So, he has quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, much better character these days, but yeah.
Yeah. They found the right amount of dumbass and and stuck with it, which is also why he's my favorite. I kind of like relate to Mr. Homer.
I like your little spurts of Homer Simpson impressions.
Oh, I don't do things so much anymore.
Once in a while, we get a little Homer out of you.
Maybe a couple of beers.
Yeah, but yeah. So the Simpsons are famous for actually getting some of their predictions correct. Like they have an episode.
Well, they predict stuff.
Yeah,
they know some stuff. I can't believe it myself.
They tell the future.
Yeah, yeah. But like you were saying, is that they have been good at it. And now I think people are looking for the next, what's going to happen, and so they're looking into the Simpsons just to see the future.
They are the crystal ball.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's kind of scary, right?
Yeah, it
like
is
the
scary.
Simpsons. I'm not trying to knock them, but if we're looking to the Simpsons for some, some guidance, I don't know. It's not good. I mean, maybe let's start off with this. Siegfried and Roy. Maybe they should have gave a damn.
Yeah, they should have paid attention.
They had
to
a
their
heads
episode.
up because they cared. And they cared enough to make an episode about them. Mm-hmm. And I think it was 10 years prior to it happening. Here, let me read a little bit about it. So this is about the episode. After Springfield, that's the place where Homer resides, decides to legalize gambling, Mr. Burns opens a casino where German magicians Gunther and Ernest performs a routine. As seeming to spoof the long-running Las Vegas Siegfried, I can't even say it, Siegfried. 6 foot and 7. Siegfried, see, I'm still saying it wrong. Yeah. Siegfried and Roy show. We all seen or heard about it.
Oh, sure.
At least a clip of it.
Super famous with their tigers.
Whether you like,
lion taming and
that kind of stuff or not, you can at least appreciate that they did a lot of cool things with a lot of cool animals. It was kind of neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, tragically, a bit in which the animated duo is attacked by their tiger came to fruition 10 years later when Roy Horn was mauled on stage by a white Bengal tiger, leaving him partially paralyzed and ending the long-running production.
Mm-hmm.
They had it. They literally had it, and I think they even had the white Bengal tiger to boot.
Yeah, there's the picture of the Siegfried and Roy characters.
Yeah, you guys could actually look it up yourselves and see, because that's...
Yeah. Well, if you guys are listening to us on a podcast platform, Spotify, you can actually watch the show and you can see what we're looking at.
Yeah, and so
it's funny because
coincidence? Sure, but is it accurate? Yep.
Yeah, I remember watching this episode, and it was kind of funny. But but yeah, 10 years later, the tiger actually attacks them. Yeah, and that was a big deal when it first happened.
It was a huge deal
because I mean that show was so long running, and I don't think either of those guys are still alive. I don't think they are.
Wow, I don't.
But
know.
This is quite a long time ago. When did they say the date episode was?
It was.
There it is.
Yeah.
1993, and then it came true in 2003.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is something, huh? I wonder. I kind of wonder when they're spoofing on something that there's always like a hint of reality and truth into what they're spoofing,
right? With
a little comedy twist. And so many things in real life, given enough time, have that same thing happen.
Because whoever it is that's coming up with these things, they put in place things that, hey, because of this, that's going to happen eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But that's this one. So we could call this coincidental, or we could predict this because anybody that's pissing off tigers long enough, because you got to piss them off to get them in line, right?
Well,
something's going to happen eventually.
Did you watch Tiger King?
Oh. I don't know if I want to answer that out loud.
Yeah. I did watch Tiger King. I didn't care much for. I'm not a big fan of watching sort of like trashy kind of stuff. You know, I mean, there's. Well, anyway.
But car accidents are hard to look away from. And that was one.
That's exactly it. But yeah, you could tell that there was one of the, I think it was a girl that was working for him and was feeding the tiger and got her hand caught while it was through the fence and ended up losing her, half her arm. Well, and I mean,
old Tiger King himself got taken down. He had to pull his gun out on one of them. I don't know if he shot it. I can't remember what he did. Mm-hmm. But I was like, geez, what kind of program are you running?
Yeah, and there's
well, to be fair, even Siegfried and Roy, even as classy as that was, done pissed them off.
Yeah.
I mean,
I had a cat.
Animals being animals.
I had a cat. Really, it was my wife's cat. And it was a larger black. I mean, it looked like a miniature, like panther. Mm-hmm. And we had to go rounds a few times because the cat was pre our relationship, and so it peed on some of my stuff, Marcus territory. Making sure that
did you whiz on some of its stuff? Oh yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, I doubled down.
and so we went rounds on a few different things, but later in its life, we kind of had an understanding. But that cat had this really weird, like switch in its brain, and it would all of a sudden go wildcat on me. And I remember we were just sitting in bed watching TV, and I was petting the cat, and before I knew it, that cat just jumped, like turned around, grabbed a hold of my arm, and bit my hand. And it was like all of a sudden, like things were super calm, and then all of a sudden just attacked me. And and it was a good sized cat, but I was thinking, if this is the instincts of a cat, imagine a big cat, like
400 pounds.
Yeah, a cougar or a tiger or a lion. No thanks. I don't want that unpredictable side,
Right. And then, what if you're smacking it around all the time? Get up on that post. I hate that post. I've been on that post for 10 years. You've been on that post. I don't know.
Yeah.
But here, I'm going to throw out my opinion. Mm-hmm. It sucks. I hate that stuff.
Yeah.
I hate seeing that they have elephants that they make do stuff because it takes pain to get them to learn these things. And, I try to appreciate that because, example, I don't mind riding a horse once in a while, but those horses had to get broke. They call them broke for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hate that aspect of it. Maybe it's just because I'm a puss, but I don't know. I just would rather them being out, enjoying life out and where they belong.
I wouldn't call you that, Dave. Not while I'm sitting this close
Just
to you.
sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a coincidence. Let's check it and see if there's if it's just all coincidence or if maybe they have another one.
All right.
Yeah.
Go for it. Is this the one?
Well, which one is this one?
This is the Lisa on Ice episode.
All right. Well, do you want to read this one?
Sure. Yeah. During a Springfield Elementary School assembly, is it Carney?
Kearney? I don't know.
Is that a character? I don't recognize that character.
I think it's one of the bullies.
Yeah. Asked fellow bully Dolph to take a memo to beat up Martin. We remember little Martin.
I do.
Can you do a Martin impression?
No.
Is that the little ha ha? Is that, no, that's a different one.
Yeah.
He's one of the bullies. No, I'm Idaho. No, not the same one.
No.
Okay. Sorry.
Martin's the little. He's kind of a smart kid.
Mm-hmm.
Not Milhouse, but he's kind of a smart kid. But nobody likes him.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay, so he's a smart little nerdy kid, right? Okay, so asks fellow bully Dolph to take a memo to beat up Martin on his Newton. Okay, Apple's early attempt at a personal digital assistant. However, the machine translates the message into "eat up Martha" instead. So, foreshadowing the common messaging error people blame on iPhone's autocorrect technology.
Yep, that's right. They predicted autocorrect.
Uh-huh. That's funny.
It is funny.
Oh, so just a little piece of history.
Mm-hmm.
I actually own a Newton.
Oh, is that right?
I do, yeah. Yeah, it looks like well, kind of like one of those early Palm Pilots that's like really big and bulky. And then if you imagine Star Trek, the little communicator deals that has the flip up thing, it looks like that because it has this big old flip up thing. But it's like a screen sensitive thing. It came with a little stylus, but it's massive. But it was way ahead of its time. And it cracks me up that it mentions it here because it was the iPhone before the iPhone, but this autocorrect technology is one of my most frustrating things about the iPhone.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I was texting my daughter, and I said something like "look," and I'm like, and it said "cook." I'm like, "Look," sit, and it changed it to "cook" again. I'm like. I'm spelling it right. It just decides to change it to a different. And I'm like, what the hell is that? So I'm like, damn it, break how hard it. Like, but I try.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, that's what it was. I said it changed it to Coke.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, what the hell? I didn't say Coke.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they no, it could be coincidental,
Well, it says here, in fact, I don't even know how to say that name. It looks like a former Apple director of engineering for iOS applications revealed in 2013 that the Simpsons gag served as a rallying cry while developing the software for the iPhone's keyboard.
So what they did is go, oh, let's make it just like that.
Yeah.
Let's make it screw up.
Yeah, if you heard people talking and they used the words "eat up Martha," it was basically a reference to the fact that we needed to nail the keyboard. We need to make sure that the text input works on this thing. Otherwise, here comes the "eat up Martha."
That's great.
Yeah. That's funny. I wonder. I mean, I've gotten myself into trouble with missed texts and that sort of thing, but that was predicted in 1994 and came true in 2007.
And if you scroll down, Scott, just a little bit, that's Martin.
That's Martin.
He always has his pins in his pocket.
Yeah.
He always says something smart ass. He's going to get himself punched in the gut. Oh, son of a bitch.
But that's fun. I do miss The Simpsons.
I do.
They're like part of Disney now, aren't they? Or is it?
Yep, they went to the dark side.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they are.
With Star Wars, yeah. The dark side.
Funny. So it's funny that we're going to move on, but we're going to come back to this one as we go.
Okay.
The autocorrect. So
okay. Yeah.
So here, let's see here. In this, what is this one? In this futuristic installment, Lisa talks with Marge, her mom.
Oh yeah, I know that one.
Using her phone's video chat capabilities. predicting the popular FaceTime feature of today's iPhones by 15 years. So mind you, we have autocorrect.
FaceTime, uh-huh.
All right, they got that. Now they have FaceTime.
Well, so I would argue that the Jetsons had it before the Simpsons.
You could argue that because they did.
Yeah.
Right? It was more of this little
screen, yeah. But I mean, that was Hanna-Barbera. I don't think the Simpsons are related to that.
No.
Yeah.
But in this case, they did. But how I will say this in the video or the episode, it looks like they were a little bit closer to it than
because
Jetsons.
by that time, 1995, they're looking at having handheld cell phones. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
But that's 15 years different. That's a gap.
Yeah, I wonder how they come up with this stuff. I mean, like I said, there's got to be some little hint of predictability or truth to a lot of the things that they're like spoofing, and this is. I mean,
I could see it like back in the day when we had. I mean, way in the back in the day before all of this, carry around phone stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When they had TVs, everybody wanted to be able to carry it with them, and they made the pocket. But that's. You sometimes you have to have that want, and maybe this is what creates that. I don't know. It's kind of weird how that works out.
I wonder how many people have watched The Simpsons and go, "Oh, that's a good idea," and then it comes true.
Right?
They call it a self-fulfilling prophecy almost.
Yeah. See, some of this could be. So, all right.
You want to do this one?
Oh, this is a good one too. We might. I don't know. Depends on what side of the aisle you're sitting on. But we've all heard. In fact, no. On both sides, I must say, I've heard this complaint. I think even Hillary complained about this one time. So this is about faulty voter machines. Mm-hmm. Predicted 2008. 4 years later comes true. In a bit inspired by the 2008 presidential election, Homer tries to vote for Barack Obama only to have a voting machine record his selection as John McCain several times. Coincidentally, when it came time for Obama to run for a second term in 2012, video footage emerged of Pennsylvania machine switching a vote from Obama to one of his Republican opponents, Mitt Romney. The machine was reportedly taken out of commission.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Man, this is starting to not sound like coincidence, right?
I think we do an episode where we talked about like voter laws.
Yeah.
And I think some voter machines we had some ideas about voter machines.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of funny though. This does take me back in time thinking about John McCain and when Mitt Romney was running. Well, that was
It's like, is that all we got?
Yeah. Well,
that's the best we got.
But think about like that was so much of a normal, what would consider election, and then when Trump got elected against Hillary, that was weird, and then of course current Joe Biden getting elected over Trump,
just getting weirder,
so weird. And then they made so many arguments on in the Hillary camp about voter fraud and all this stuff about that election, and then of course the tables have turned for Trump and Biden, where there was all these claims of voter fraud. So it happens on both sides.
Yep, it does.
Yep, and the Simpsons predicted it.
Yes, they did.
That's funny.
So coincidental? I don't know if it's coincidence anymore.
Oh, so this is an interesting one. The God particle, the Higgs boson. We have been meaning to do a podcast about the CERN particle collider.
Yep. Especially now because they just did something new with it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Just recently, a few weeks back.
And I want to say that there's another place that's trying to build another one that's similar to it for some different types of experiments.
Yeah, we need to stop effing around.
And so this is where, because I love science, I'm very fascinated by it. I watched a specific documentary on the Higgs boson when they're trying to figure out if their theoretical predictions of the Higgs boson could actually be done in an experiment, and they did it at CERN. and was able to detect the Higgs boson. Now, in this case, they titled it the God particle, but I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with the religious God that we all know about.
They're talking about trying to create the Big Bang, or
the conditions,
the conditions to create. Right?
Basically, what they want to do is they want to have an environment where they can create conditions that would have allowed for similar things to happen that they think happened during the Big Bang, where particles were split off, and you can measure the different types of things that were a part of that.
Great idea to have a Big Bang here on the surface of our planet. Great idea.
Well, but you have to think about it. This is like so small.
Yeah, but we don't know what's going to happen.
So small. Well, they have.
How big is an atom?
Well, they're talking even smaller than an atom.
Right.
They're looking at particles that are like, what do they call them? Muons and gluons and these other particles that would make up the internals of an atom.
Yeah. What if it's worse the smaller they are? That makes a big problem.
But I don't know that they're splitting an atom.
Know.
I don't know the
no, they're just, remember,
details,
they're doing worse. Remember, they're making black holes. Remember, people are saying they're making black holes and the Earth is going to suck itself or something.
Well, well, and the things that the experiments that they do happens in such an incredible fast pace that it happens and it's gone. I mean, we're fractions and fractions and fractions of a second. And the detectors that they have are massive around this one little tiny area where they're going to detect these potential particles that come apart.
And why?
It's very fascinating. Well, just to know what else is there to discover out there. Yeah. We'll have to do a podcast on it. Yeah. We're getting way off track here.
Oh boy, are we? It is interesting. Trust me, that's on one of my lists because I think it's.
Well, maybe some folks will encourage us, make a comment in our little YouTube comment area, and encourage Dave to do the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read this to you.
Yep.
So predicted in 1998 and came true in 2012, the existence of the Higgs boson, or in quotes, God particle, a breakthrough that helped explain how everything in the universe has mass. Let's see. It wasn't confirmed by physicists until 2012, but according to Dr. Simon Singh, the author of The Simpsons and their mathematical secrets, after Homer decided to become an inventor, the Wizard of Evergreen Terrace. I don't think I've seen this episode. He was pictured standing in front of a blackboard with an equation that predicted the mass of the yet-to-be-discovered particle.
Right.
They had this. So this mathematician.
What the hell is that?
Yeah. So this mathematician who is part of, the. I don't know. Did he contribute to this? Is that contributed to this episode? Is that what I'm seeing here?
I don't know.
Dr. Simon Singh, author of The Simpsons and their mathematical secrets. Anyway, it says down below. It says if you work it out, you get the mass of the Higgs boson. So the formula that Homer had on the chalkboard turns out to be the formula for the Higgs boson, this special particle that they were trying to discover.
So, but that's supposed to be what? Like several years prior to them having that.
Yeah. Well, and so it makes me curious because the Higgs boson. So we talked about this once before, and that is there are theoretical physicists, and then there are the practical experimental physicists, the folks who theorize that this thing could be true. And then there's the experimental side where they actually try and develop these experiments in order to actually prove what the theoretical had only been theorizing. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if, as far as timeline, how long prior to the Higgs boson actually being discovered using CERN, how long they've been theorizing this particle. Yeah, because maybe one of the writers in The Simpsons had heard some little thing.
I know. Yeah, they've been working on this for years and years and years, and they got it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're just probably a nerd working in their writer's room, right?
Yeah.
So here's the picture. Homer discovered the Higgs boson. This is the is that a donut on the bottom?
Well, it does explain a lot, right? You have a full donut. Then after you have a phone done, it points to a donut with a bite out of it. And then the next shows a donut that has about 2 bites out of it. And it equals no donut.
No, that's a donut hole.
That's a donut.
I don't know what it means.
I don't know what the hell that is, but
that's really funny.
But that's the one that I could believe that Homer actually put up there.
Yeah.
The rest of that is no.
Yeah.
He doesn't have it in him.
That is really funny. Yeah. That's interesting.
That is an interesting one.
What do we got here? What's the next one?
Well, we have an NSA spying scandal.
Oh, yeah.
What? That doesn't happen.
No.
Predicted in 2007, came true in 2013 when the Simpson family forced to go into hiding following their escape from the EPA biodome. Remember that? In closing Springfield, the NSA locates Marge and the kids. Locates Marge and the kids by listening in on their conversations. However, it wasn't until 6 years after the Simpsons movie hit the theaters that Edward Snowden first blew the whistle on government mass surveillance of Americans, phone and internet records.
Now, we've always thought that someone's watching us.
Right. We've all had conspiracy theories. Just Snowden just kind of said, "Yep." So I could see how this one could come around.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think we're going to do a podcast on Snowden and his story. There's a good movie out there. I think it's just called Snowden. And then I think Snowden...
I might have seen that.
Snowden did a interview with Joe Rogan. I thought that was very fascinating. He's got a very interesting story.
Yeah.
And unique history and confirms all this NSA spying.
And it's funny because it doesn't seem like a whole lot of people look into what he has to say and even care about it, even if it's true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how fast do people move from one news cycle to the next?
Yeah, well, speaking of, so I'm going to have you read this one, but remember I told you let's not forget that, that they predicted, FaceTime and they predicted autocorrect. All right, well, this kind of goes with it.
Yeah, dang it. Lisa's Wedding, episode 19 of season 6. Smartwatches.
Yeah.
Predicted 1995, came true in 2014. When Lisa visits a fortune teller at a Renaissance fair, the viewers are transported 15 years into the future to 2010. Ooh. A time when wristwatch communication technology exists. However, even the Simpsons' future society was a little ahead of its time, as modern voice recognition enabled smartwatches weren't rolled out until 2014. Yeah, and I have one on my wrist. In fact, I had to turn off the Siri stuff on my wristwatch because, well, number one, it kept going off when we were doing our podcast. It would start dictating our podcast.
Oh.
And then there were other times where I'd catch it dictating a conversation that I had with my wife.
So I should try to find it for you. And it goes hand in hand with this. There was a little video of this gentleman showing us, go here, click here, click here, click here, click here, click here, click here, because it listens to you, and this is what have you ever see this weird stuff happen, this is why, blah, 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 blah. It's made to do that. It's not just, because, when I first saw it, I just think, this thing's evil. Well, maybe it still is. But, yeah, made to do that. So there's a wild web of ways to go in to get it done, but I might have to try to find that and send it to you.
Yeah, I turned off Siri on all of my devices. I do have it on my phone, but you have to do like a special thing in order to use Siri.
I never use Siri, never have used Siri, and it still listens and it still pulls up stuff. If I sit here and talk about kayaks, I'm going to have a freaking kayak pop up on my face.
On your ad.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I used to use it all the time. In fact, my wife would give me a hard time about using Siri because Siri would, it would basically listen to my texts and transcribe them pretty accurately. And my wife couldn't use Siri very well, and it was always doing that thing autocorrect to something other than what she wanted. But then it just became a nuisance because it was constantly coming up as I was speaking.
Yeah.
And I never know, is that going to be sent as a text message to someone that I that I don't want it to be sent to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to turn it off.
Yeah. You never know.
I do like my smartwatch though. I like tracking.
I really like
my athletic
technology stuff too, but I really don't like that. All that stuff is put in is not for our benefit. It's for
the listening.
That's for other people's
advertising.
No. I know that there's some benefit for us to call hands free, that kind of stuff, but there's no benefit for the listening in for advertising and stuff for us. I think that's BS.
Yeah,
I think that's
we did
overreach.
We did an episode on the social dilemma, and sure enough, boy, I tell you, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the background that's not for us, but for others. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's another one.
Yeah.
You want to read through this one?
Sure. I'll talk about the prediction of the Ebola outbreak, America's Ebola outbreak.
Mm-hmm.
They predicted it in 1997, and then 2014. Dang it, that's a long ways away. Now, to me, I'm going to be fair. I think this one is a little bit of a stretch.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of a stretch. Anyways, you tell me what you think.
I'll be the judge of that.
This installment saw Marge offer to read a depressed Bart a book titled Curious George and the Ebola Virus. Now, mind you, I think it's funny, but I don't know if that's really a prediction.
That's funny. Okay.
This moment was widely circulated during the 2014 America Ebola outbreak when YouTube user, the Controversy 7 created a video laying out the theory revolving around the Simpsons' predictive tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Okay, this might be a stretch. That is really funny, though, Curious George, because I used to read the Curious George books.
I think it's funny as hell, too. Yeah. But I think that they just thought that'd just be funny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ebola getting spread by...
And then they just go... But it doesn't
monkeys.
say that... Yeah, but it still didn't say that it was...
Yeah.
Couldn't be an epidemic or
what
anything.
I think is interesting, though, is that when they have a prediction where when they're talking about it for the future, it becomes actually very close to when it actually comes to fruition. That's when they put a date on something that they're doing, that it's happening in the future around this time. And I go, oh, well, that's a curious one. When it's just, open-ended. I go, oh, well, you could fit a lot of stuff in.
Well, it gets better.
Go ahead.
We have some other ones. No, I'm not saying this one, but we have some other ones that get pretty, like, how the hell?
Yeah.
In fact, FIFA's corruption scandal predicted 2014. Man, they did a lot of predictions in 2014, it seems like. It came true the next year. Although the World Football Federation represented who asks Homer for help repairing the organization's image isn't explicitly named as a member of FIFA, his arrest turned out to be uncannily similar to those of the real-life FIFA officials who were arrested on corruption charges about a year later. Mm-hmm. Not to mention that episode also currently predicted Germany's defeat of Brazil in the 2014 World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
I like this one. This one seemed like a prediction.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like they mentioned it as like a twofer. That's got to be hard to do.
I wonder if there was some inside information.
Never.
It just happened the next
year.
That's
not possible. I don't know. They couldn't have predicted who won. But then again, it's probably a 50-50. Well, I don't know if it's 50-50 because at that time, they probably didn't know who was in the playoffs.
There's only two options. They win or they lose.
Well, they probably didn't know who was in the playoffs, though. But
Yeah, maybe.
But I thought that was a pretty good one.
This is an interesting
one. Yeah.
Okay, so Greece's debt default. We especially, I mean, the world is a small place nowadays, and you have, all of these different financial problems that, happen to different countries. Yeah. And Greece's was a serious one.
Huge.
All right, so season 23, episode 10, politically inept with Homer Simpson. Well, that sounds like a good episode. I'm going to have to look that one up. I think I can do it on the Disney Plus here. So it predicted in 2012, came true in 2015, when Homer appears as a guest commentator on a cable news show, Headbutt. A ticker runs across the bottom of the screen that reads, Europe puts Greece on eBay. Of course, this was 3 years before Greece became the first developed country to be to default on the International Monetary Fund, plunging the country deeper into an economic crisis. And boy, wasn't it.
It was huge.
I mean, this might be a stretch in just wording.
Oh, does that say Satan tweeted it? No, I'm looking at the picture. It says, like they said, there's a scroll down there. It says, Europe puts Greece on eBay, and then it says, Satan tweet. I don't know what the rest of that says.
Yeah, we'll have to watch the episode to see what the rest of that ticker was.
Yeah, but I thought that was a relatively decent little prediction.
Yeah, well, in 2012, I don't think we saw that things were going downhill.
No.
Yeah.
Well, not us. Not the world. What is this, Scott?
Nobel Prize. Elementary School Musical. Season 22, Episode 1. Predicted 2010. Came true in 2016. So there's still a good gap there.
Sure.
Who's this? Bang Holmstrom?
Bang.
I think the T is silent.
I pronounce everything.
I don't know. I don't speak other languages.
What is it, German?
My English is a struggle sometimes. Let's see. So Holmstrom may not have won the Nobel Prize in economics until 2016, but one Simpsons character was betting on him 6 years prior in a scene from the season 22 premiere in which Martin holds up a scorecard depicting his Nobel Prize betting pool with Lisa, Milhouse, and Database. The MIT professor is clearly marked in one of Milhouse's squares.
So check this out. Now, mind you, it's not the one that's circled, but it's Milhouse's bet. And his name is there.
Yeah. Yeah, Milhouse was right.
I mean,
no, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to be a sucker, but it's pretty good.
Okay, here's a good one. Go ahead, Dave.
All right. So they predicted the President Donald Trump, season 11, episode 17. It's called Bart to the Future. So back in 2000, they predicted 2016. It came true in 2016. When Bart flashes forward into adulthood, viewers learn that Lisa not only becomes president, but inherits quite a budget crunch from her predecessor, Donald Trump. The country is broke. She asks her aides in one scene, "How can this be?" At the time that real Trump presidency was still 16 years away. However, in 2016 interview with a Hollywood Reporter, writer Dan Greeny explained that the joke was meant to be as a warning to the country. That just seemed like a logical last stop before hitting bottom, he said. It was pitched because it was consistent with the vision of America's going insane. And so I will talk about this. So there's another one out there that's, on Facebook, and they showed, and I thought it was too, and it showed 2000, and they had a picture of President Trump when he announced he was running, I believe, in Trump Tower. He was coming down the escalator, and it was so amazingly detailed. I was in. I mean, there was somebody up above, the balcony, and they're holding a sign, and then it falls, and it shows it fall. I'm like, everything was so detailed. I'm like, that's nuts. We need to get an exorcist here, because that's saying it's just too nuts.
Too close to details, yeah.
So looking into it more, I'm bummed out too, because that was crazy. Yes, here they have predicted it. And she just said, like, she just, by saying, like, she inherited Trump's disaster. But that one they didn't, because that was a short film, I guess, can't recall any name, that they made after the fact.
Yeah.
But they still...
So they fulfilled that prophecy.
So they said, so they kind of used that, their prediction and that clip, and now it's not fair. But, it was, it was
well done.
Of course it was so accurate.
Yeah.
Like, how are they going to get that? I'm making this up. Fifth person to the left actually dropped the sign at the exact same time, and I'm like, it's hard to take. Well, that's because it didn't happen.
Yeah. Well, they kind of recreated that scenario, right? Yeah, that's pretty neat, though.
But yeah.
So the prediction was in 2000.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think back. I want to say that Trump had sort of considered running for president on a number of different occasions, and I want to say when Mitt Romney was running was it 2012? Is that right? that he had announced that he was going to run, and then he didn't. And
if
then
you
he didn't
go back
run.
farther, I could be wrong, but Oprah Winfrey, I thought, asked him if he would run, and I'm talking
90s?
years ago.
80s? Yeah.
And he was like, well, if it's something I have to do, it's something I have to do,
Yeah.
But it was a long, long, long time ago.
Yeah.
And again, if I'm wrong, it was Oprah or not, I don't know. But
yeah,
there's an interview of him. I think it wasn't him saying, hey, I'm going to. I think it was, hey, would you ever think about it?
Yeah.
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 If it gets bad enough, I'll fix it.
Yeah, I think that was on Donahue. No, I'm just kidding.
But my point is it makes me wonder if they're like, hey, that fool said he was going to, not saying that I think he's a fool. I'm just saying that.
It's so weird, though, that he actually became president.
So this one.
Oh, yeah. This one, this is a good one. I did see this one online. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff that's very, very accurate about that.
Yeah.
So, and when they, so I'm going to, this is about Lady Gaga's halftime show. Now, mind you, if it was if they predicted it in 2015 and it came true in 2017, I could go, okay, they had a plan of what the show was going to be and who they were going to, because I don't have to plan it out at least somewhat.
Yeah.
This is 2012. I mean, this is 5 years. They don't know who's going to be running the halftime show 5 years prior.
Yeah.
So
I wonder how much of this show was done because this episode had been released.
Like they set it up to have it just because?
Yeah, because, the Simpsons predicted it and someone saw it and go, oh, well, that's a good idea. Let's do that.
I know that's possible.
I don't know.
But
let's read it so that people know what the hell we're talking about.
So here it is. Predicted in 2012, came true in 2017. Nearly 5 years before Lady Gaga descended from the roof of Houston's NRG Stadium for the halftime show of Super Bowl. What the hell is that?
Is that 41?
L1.
I don't know what L is.
Super Bowl lie.
I don't know. I don't even know where we're at with the number of Super Bowls.
I don't know.
I'm really bad at this. I should have looked this up before.
Well, in a halftime show of Super Bowl L1, make fun, please. Her Simpsons doppelganger performed a song for the residents of Springfield while suspended in the air. Mm-hmm. The two mother monsters even wore similar silver ensembles for their shows. I'm like, and they predicted it. I mean, she was wearing kind of the same stuff, came down from the, she was on cables and came down and maybe scroll down a little bit.
Yeah. By the way, it's LI. It's Roman numerals for 51.
51. L is 50?
Yes.
Damn.
It's been a long time since I've been in school and I didn't know anything about the Roman numerals.
Me neither.
Sorry.
I get the X and the other ones mixed up too.
Yeah.
But.
Well, okay, so that show, which I believe I saw that halftime show.
I thought that they even predicted the winner of that show, the game too.
Mm-hmm.
I thought. But that's easy to do because they probably would just pay off that too. Because they could go, oh, we could make this whole thing happen.
Yeah. It's like the Truman Show. Everything's made up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is
okay.
Come on now.
Okay, this is a good one. Okay, Disney's.
This is a long time away. A gap.
This is really funny though. Disney's Fox takeover. So season 10, episode 5. The title is When You Dish Upon a Star. Predicted 1998, came true in 2017. After a trip to Springfield, director Ron Howard pitches a screenplay that Homer wrote to produce Brian Glazer of the 20th Century Fox. At the beginning of the scene, a sign can be seen on the Fox studio lot that reveals the company is now a division of Walt Disney Company.
That's a true prediction.
Yeah.
Come on.
Cut to nearly 20 years later, this sale is officially underway, with the news breaking that Disney has reached a deal to acquire, $66.1 billion worth of Fox in December 14 of 2017.
Wow.
And there's the picture of it. Yep. That is really funny.
20th Century Fox, a division of Walt Disney Company. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and now if you want to see The Simpsons, you can see pretty much every season, I think, on Disney Plus.
Yeah. Yep.
Along with Star Wars and all the Marvel universe, and they've really expanded their portfolio.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
They own a lot of stuff they have no part of creating.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to do one more?
Oh, for sure.
Which one would be?
Well, let's see. I don't know if Game of Thrones, if you like the Game of Thrones or not, but this one here I'm kind of curious about myself. But Dragon's Fury Rampage on Game of Thrones was predicted. Season 29, Episode 1 of the Surf Sons. All right. Predicted 2017, came true 2019. So this is one that I'm curious about because I don't know how this show came about. So I'll read it and then we'll discuss. So a 2017 episode called The Surf Sons saw Homer, Marge, and the rest of the Simpsons gang find themselves in the kingdom of Springfieldia. Come on now. An alternate fantasy universe that parodied many aspects of life in Westeros on Game of Thrones. There was even a fire-breathing dragon that burnt down the Surfsons village, much like Dragon. This is a little bit rough to read here because there's some parentheses and stuff. So Daenerys, because I said that wrong, that's the queen of the dragon. So anyways, much like Dragon, ended up doing to King's Landing in Game of Thrones. So
they basically are depicting
the ending
with
Game of Thrones. So sorry if you haven't seen Game of Thrones, but this is the ending.
Gotcha. Well, so I haven't seen it, but I've been thinking about getting the HBO whatever membership,
Max or whatever.
Yeah, whatever the membership, because they had like some sort of discount where you can get like 40% off.
Oh, they do actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought, well, maybe I just get that. I got a year to kind of watch whatever. And there's some folks at work that have been watching Game of Thrones, and they've got a new series, I guess, now.
Yeah, it's like the prequel.
Oh, is it?
It's
Okay.
Before this started, yeah.
Yeah, and so they're just like, oh yeah, you gotta get it. But I don't have a whole lot of time to be watching, and I know that I don't even know how many seasons of Game of Thrones there is.
Yeah, there's a few.
Yeah, I mean, it took me a long time, and each show was really long.
Yeah. But there's a lot of nudity, so you'll be fine.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, no, there is. And I will say, I enjoyed it. I've gone through it a couple times, the show, and it's a great story. In fact, it's a fantastic story.
Okay.
And good acting, and I think you won't be disappointed at all. A lot of good Oh, damn it! I'd almost watch it with you. I just finished it, but my question is I don't think this was a book, so, yeah. But I don't know if, it's only been 2 years. Did somebody get a hold of did somebody already have it written, the ending, the script or anything? Or was this like so many other shows that, example, Lost, they were kind of writing it as they go and then screwed up the whole freaking ending to Lost.
Which I haven't seen either.
And I'm not saying, that's hard it's hard for me to suggest that because
I decided not to because everyone says the ending isn't very good.
It's so rough. But
well, do you think that the potential for the story of the ending was circulating among certain
that's
people?
what I'm wondering. Because
or they just get totally lucky and go, this is what we want to do, and then turns out that's pretty fitting.
Could very well be because I'm not saying it's a bad ending. It might have been a bad ending for something else, but I thought it was a great ending myself. I thought it was all great.
Well, I might just have to pull the trigger on that one and get HBO.
Well, and what a time, because you get 40% off.
Yeah.
HBO.
Well, yeah, I get to be a cheapskate.
Yeah.
Which, I am.
In fact, I think Disney's got a discount too. I don't remember. I can't remember. We don't have it anymore, or HBO. We lost them both.
Yeah, I think I paid for a year, and my year's up in a few months with Disney Plus. But, yeah, I mean, I used to like Disney, a lot of their stuff.
Yeah, so. You won't be disappointed. It's good. But anyways, they predicted the ending. Sorry, people, I should have gave you a little bit of a warning if you haven't watched Game of Thrones. Hey, here's the ending. Don't
Well,
watch.
there you go.
Don't watch. It's season 29, episode 1.
Yeah. Spoilers are fine. And hear all the angry comments and emails come through.
I'll tell you this. I knew the ending because I already watched it. And hell, if I didn't, I rewatched it the second time, and it was almost like watching it all over again.
Mm-hmm.
And even knowing the ending, it still seemed like there was more to it, or I missed so much.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've rewatched some stuff before, some series, because they're that good. So,
pick up some more details that you missed out.
yeah, that's some of my favorite movies, Some that we need to watch together again.
Absolutely.
See no evil and hear no evil.
I'm ready. No.
All right, let's end it with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks again for watching, and thanks for listening. If you don't mind, tell a friend. We would love to grow the audience.
Yes.
We are steadily growing now that we're away from our summer vacation. And posting again. Thank you for that. You can find more information on our website,
Never2series.com.
And until we see you next time, take care.
And be safe.